Things like this happen all the time in the jungle. It's survival of the fittest.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 movies that were criticized for being violent.
Sally, I hear something. Stop. Stop.
Two policemen are in critical condition. You're laughing.
I'm a natural-born killer.
For this list, we're looking at various movies that were criticized by professional critics, audiences, and/or government officials for being particularly violent. Number 10. Reservoir Dogs. The gangster genre was in full force in the early 90s thanks to the powerhouse that was Goodfellas. But none was as controversial as Quentin Tarantino's first studio movie.
We ain't taking him to a hospital.
We know he's gonna die.
And I'm very sad about that, but some fellas are lucky and some ain't.
There were numerous reports of people walking out of screenings, including Wes Craven and makeup artist Rick Baker.
I don't want to do this. I have a very bad feeling about it.
To them, the movie's realistic violence was simply too much to handle, particularly the famous scene where Mr. Blonde maims Marvin Nash.
Alone at last.
According to Hollywood legend, even actor Michael Madsen had difficulty filming the scene, especially once fellow actor Kirk Baltz improvised the line,
Look, I got a little kid going now, please.
Number 9. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Hey, come here. Come here, look at this.
This movie is still disturbing today, so just imagine what it was like in 1974. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre helped revolutionize the slasher and horror genres, but it also caused a lot of controversy.
Them girls now, they don't want to go messing around no old house. Best you stick around here.
Many critics despised its violence and gore, despite there being little to no actual gore in the movie. It initially received an X rating from the MPAA, and it was outright banned in Britain for over 20 years. There were numerous reports of people walking out of theaters in disgust. And 2 movie theaters in Ottawa were even forced to pull the movie after police threatened them with morality charges. Number 8. I Spit on Your Grave. The 70s are well known for brutal exploitation films, and I Spit on Your Grave is one of the most notable examples.
You got a boyfriend?
I have many boyfriends.
Could I be your friend?
The movie follows a writer who seeks violent revenge against the 4 men who assaulted her. Yeah, you can see where this is going. The movie is basically nothing but horrific violence, which takes up roughly 1/3 of the entire film. Roger Ebert called it one of the worst movies ever made, and a, quote, vile bag of garbage. And notable critic Mark Kermode has called it, quote, deeply, deeply problematic.
Your clothes?
I don't like women giving me orders.
Many countries outright banned the movie, and to this day, it remains either banned or heavily censored.
Johnny talked me into it. Johnny made me do it. I didn't want to do it. He made me do it. Suck it.
Number 7. Hostel. Hostel is basically a modern-day exploitation film, and it received a fittingly similar reception.
We paid to stay here. They could just lock us up.
Hostel has little story, as it's basically non-stop torture scenes for an hour and a half.
Oh my God! No! Oh my God! Oh my God! No!
While the movie received mediocre reviews, many critics noted its horrendous violence and gore, with David Edelstein of New York Magazine attributing the creation of a different kind of splatter film to the film's director, Eli Roth.
Speak. What do you want me to say? American.
The governments of both Slovakia and the Czech Republic were similarly disgusted with the movie, as they argued that it made their countries look underdeveloped, uncultured, and sadistically violent. Number 6. The Last House on the Left. Another notable, earlier, and more famous example of the 70s exploitation genre is Wes Craven's now cult classic, The Last House on the Left.
I feel like a woman for the first time in my life.
And remember, this is the guy that walked out of Reservoir Dogs because it was too violent.
Hey, man, you don't know where we could score on some good grass, do you?
The story follows 2 teenagers who are abducted and eventually killed, and the subsequent revenge that one girl's parents take on the killers. movie received good reviews, it was either banned or heavily censored in numerous countries due to its particularly graphic scenes and bloody violence.
You want to kill me?
I'll do it.
Okay, well, let me help you.
I really will.
Now, I want you to hold the gun out just like that.
According to Wes Craven, many copies of the original uncut version were destroyed in acts of protest. Number 5. Natural-born killers. While Quentin Tarantino is only credited with the story, this movie is often attributed to him due to its brutal violence and subsequent controversy. Natural-born killers follows the murderous spree of two psychotic criminals, Mickey and Mallory Knox.
Who are you?
Mickey, who are you?
I'm Mallory.
You gotta change your name to Beautiful.
As you can imagine, this concept attained negative attention, and the film initially received an NC-17 rating from the MPAA. The film's release in the United Kingdom was also initially delayed due to numerous crimes being attributed to the movie.
Hey, Jack. Mickey's back.
Well, just a prick I want to see.
And that wouldn't be the last time.
He saw the demon.
The demon? What demon?
Everybody got the demon in here, okay? The demon lives in here. It feeds on your hate.
The film has since been blamed for a number of atrocities, including the murders of the Richardson family in 2006.
That's when I realized my one true calling in life.
And what's that, Mickey?
Shit, man. I'm a natural-born killer.
Number 4. Battle Royale. Battle Royale is centered around a group of high school students who are pitted against each other. It's basically a much darker and more violent version of the Hunger Games. Unsurprisingly, a movie about a group of kids fighting each other for their lives garnered a lot of controversy. It was initially met with fierce resistance from the Japanese government and media, and the movie was soon blamed for teenage violence across the country. It was also not given an American release, as test audiences found the subject matter too personal and disturbing. It was even banned in Germany in 2013, as it broke the country's criminal code regarding gratuitous violence. Number 3. A Clockwork Orange. While it may not be violent by today's standards, A Clockwork Orange was considered downright repellent back in 1971.
We're just going to show you some films.
You mean like going to the pictures?
Something like that.
The movie follows Alex, a delinquent who assaults women and partakes in what he calls ultra-violence.
Enjoying that, are you, my darling?
While the movie was acclaimed by American critics, it received immense backlash by British audiences. It was blamed for numerous acts of violence, and large groups gathered outside of Stanley Kubrick's house to protest the film.
As you are now convicted. Now over to the table and get undressed.
It was eventually pulled from British cinemas in 1973 at the request of Kubrick, and it wouldn't be seen by British eyes again for nearly 30 years.
I feel very low in myself. I can't see much in the future. And I feel that any second something terrible is going to happen to me.
Number 2. Cannibal Holocaust.
I know this is not going to be a picnic. Believe me, this is not my first trip into the bush.
While Cannibal Holocaust was heavily criticized for both its content matter and its value as a film, it revolutionized the found footage genre. A genre that was eventually popularized by the Blair Witch Project nearly 20 years later. Although the movie was initially a huge financial success, it faced a novel-sized list of controversies. The movie's director, Ruggero Deodato, was initially brought up on murder charges, as the Italian government believed the footage to be real.
Why didn't they print the whole thing?
The negative needed special treatment because of the humidity.
While those charges were eventually dropped, he was eventually convicted on obscenity charges, and the movie was banned in over 50 countries.
What you saw is a rough cut.
Perhaps I haven't made myself clear, but I refuse to have anything to do with this material.
Before we unveil our top pick, here are some honorable mentions. The Evil Dead, also known as the #1 video nasty. Django Unchained, a Tarantino Western not for the faint of heart.
Big Daddy's getting away.
Joker, a masterpiece delivered in turbulent times.
What do you get?
I don't think so.
When you cross a mentally ill loner with a society that abandons him and treats him like trash!
Call the police!
Saw. This box office hit originally carried an NC-17 rating.
Don't cry. I've given your life a purpose. You're a test subject for something greater than yourself.
Freeze! Please! Hold it right there, don't move!
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Number 1. The Passion of the Christ. While The Passion of the Christ was a monumental release, it is still one of the biggest R-rated movies of all time. Many people felt as if the movie focused far too much on its excessive violence.
Eshalak. Yeshua Nazaret. Amar lana en ant Meshiach.
The critical consensus on Rotten Tomatoes is that the movie's grotesque violence overshadows any religious statement the movie was trying to make, and Roger Ebert called it the most violent film he had ever seen.
Satis! Mandatum erat un carmine punire! Non eum castigare usque ad mortem!
One film historian called the movie, quote, a mainstream snuff film, and David Edelstein of Slate called it, quote, the Jesus Chainsaw Massacre. It seems as if Jesus' final days do not translate well to screen. Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.